What are you doing in here?
I won't tell about what you said about Tennille.
Cindy makes a big discovery on this episode of Cruel Summer. Let's break it down and find out just what happened. What's going on, you lovely people? Lisa here, and it is time to break down episode 6 of Cruel Summer. Things are starting to get more intense as the trial approaches, and we see more and more that both Jeanette and Kate are holding on to secrets. Now, if you want to see my recap of the first 5 episodes, you can check that video out here, and I'll do my best to actually stay on top of recaps this season after each episode. But yeah, I am really invested in this show now, and honestly, still don't know who to believe. But before I recap this episode, I recently interviewed a few of the cast members, and you can find those links down in the description. Alright, now on to episode 6. So this, we return to Jeanette's point of view, and the events take place around August 15th of our 3 years, which happened to be Greg and Cindy Turner's anniversary, which obviously goes from happy in 1993 to non-existent technically in 1995. In fact, we do finally get to see Cindy in 1995 in this episode, as she's been absent in that time period up to this point, except for a mention from Derek that Jeanette should answer Cindy's calls once in a while so we know that she's alive. Alright, so in 1993, Cindy and Greg seem like they're the perfect couple, and their anniversary is basically like its own holiday. But then flash forward to 1994, and Greg and Cindy are really at each other's throats fighting, and things are just getting tense as Jeanette's worrying about what's happening and Derek is about to leave her for college. Then, to make matters worse, a fancy basket of wine and food shows up at the doorstep, so Cindy actually is starting to forgive Greg and thinks it's for her, but womp womp, it's from Angela, thanking Greg for finding her the perfect home, and that's kind of awkward as Cindy's like, who the hell is Angela? Now, in 1995, on this day, obviously, parents aren't together, so there's no wedding anniversary. We actually see Jeanette sitting and watching home videos of happier times when the family was together. She confesses to Angela that while she does miss her mom, she really misses her dad, and while he's there, he seems like he's still a million miles away, and she actually starts to wish that she had just stayed a nerdy nobody. That's when Angela, who we have seen is obviously on Jeanette's side and is trying to, be an ally and a support system for her, Angela tells her to not make herself less for anybody. And then we have Jeanette's lawyer showing up.
We have a problem.
So what exactly is this problem? Well, it turns out it's Tennille's mom, Tanya, who Kate's lawyers are deposing because, well, Tanya claims to have some really damning information about Jeanette. And, well, Jeanette, she actually doesn't seem too worried because she says she has worse on Tanya. But the lawyers are still pretty concerned that Jeanette's character could be assassinated, which could be very detrimental to Jeanette's case. So, what does Jeanette do? She ends up paying a visit to Tanya at the department store where she works, and in the flashbacks, we get to see just what they have on each other, and we get to weigh whose revelation is worse, whose secret is worse. So, back in 1993, Tanya still worked at this department store, and she was laying it on super thick with Martin Harris, pretty much forcing him to go on a date and have drinks back at his place. And Jeanette actually knew this because she was hiding in the fitting room with Mallory because they were trying to cross something off the list to steal something. Jeanette had already stolen the yearbook, but now it was Mallory's turn to steal clothes, so they overheard this whole conversation. Now, right before Martin and Tanya go back to his house, Jeanette decides that she wants to break into his house and steal a CD for Vincent because Vincent's attempt to cross off steal something from the list didn't go as planned when he tried to steal a CD. The alarms went off and Jeanette ended up taking the fall for him. But, she didn't care about it because she ended up in mall jail where she got to spend some time with Jamie, and we again hear her say she kind of gets this rush from getting into trouble. So yeah, now she wants to help Vincent get a CD, so she ends up hiding in Martin's closet because she hears Martin and Tanya come home. Then she accidentally bumps the stereo, which causes loud music to play, making Tanya spill her wine on herself. Now, just before Martin can open the closet to try to turn the music off, Jeanette actually gets the music turned off, so he turns away to go to get something to help Tanya clean up. Then we see Tanya open the closet, surprised to find Jeanette, and, well, yeah.
What are you doing in here?
I won't tell about what you said about Tennille.
I didn't see you, and you didn't see me, or hear anything.
Deal.
Go. Scoot.
So yeah, that's basically what Tanya plans to tell the police that she indeed did see Jeanette at Martin's house. So Jeanette's been lying about whether she's been at that house multiple times or not. But it turns out that Tanya changes her tune when she gets to the lawyer's office and says she has actually nothing to share, and that's because Jeanette ended up paying a visit to Tanya at the store and threatened her with something greater. She pretty much threatened Tanya to release the information that not only is Tanya in her own way a sexual predator because she more so basically forced herself on Martin instead of the other way around, which is what she told during a TV interview in 1994 to try to get herself more famous. She also lied to a man telling him that he's Tennille's father just so she could get child support. So yeah, there's a whole paternity fraud case there, and pretty much Tanya realizes that that information is way worse and could ruin her reputation and her entire family. So yeah, Jeanette threatening her with releasing that information gets Tanya to close her lips, and Jeanette avoids that crisis. Now, as for Cindy in 1994, all the prank calls and rumors and everything are really starting to get to her. She's beginning to question even more whether Jeanette is telling the truth. So she decides to snoop in Jeanette's room, and at first doesn't find anything in the closet and doesn't find anything in the jewelry box till she hears a little rattle, turns it over, and finds a key hidden underneath. She then later asks Jeanette if she's ever been inside Martin's house, and Jeanette, of course, lies and says that, tells Cindy that she's letting the rumors get to her. So, what does Cindy do? She tries to share her worry then with Greg, her husband, because she has to have somebody to confide in. And, she says they should go try this key on Martin's house to get actual answers, but Greg's very dismissive, says they raised a good kid, and that Cindy again is worrying over nothing. No one's really taking anything she says seriously. She even tries to talk to Derek about what's been going on and about some incidents from childhood, and she just realizes that both Derek and Greg seem to do anything for Jeanette, cover for her when she's lying, all of that, which we also see in 1993 when Greg lets Jeanette off the hook for the stealing stuff, and they choose not to tell Cindy about it. Alright, so later that night, Greg returns home to find Cindy in the dark, and she reveals that she did fail in some aspects of parenting Jeanette, and she's realizing these things, but she also realizes that, Greg squashed some of her dreams and never believed in her and things like that. So she suggests that Greg should really go try the house key for himself, but he's not taking her seriously, so Cindy decides to go stay with her sister for a bit. We do, though, eventually see Greg go and try that key. Curiosity got to him. He goes to Martin's house, the key works, and of course now he's super angry with himself and probably with Jeanette. Alright, some other things in 1994. We continue to see that Jeanette has lost Tennille and Renee as friends. They're icing her out, but she ends up reconnecting some with Vincent after walking into the video store and seeing him and Ben together. And they actually have a sweet moment, and she's very supportive of that relationship as long as Vincent's happy. They also reconnect in 1995 as well, as he comes over to check on her and helps distract reporters so she can sneak out of the house to confront Tanya. They also hang out later that night, and Angela actually mentions that she thinks the two of them would be a couple, and they just laugh because they know that would never happen. When Angela then goes to work, who comes waltzing up to the bar? None other than Cindy, and she starts actually confiding in Angela because there's just something about bartenders, that you just feel like you can talk to them. But also Cindy knows who Angela is, even though Angela doesn't think Cindy might know who she is. But Cindy does let her know she knows who she is after some drinks, and Cindy asks how Jeanette is, and they're actually getting along pretty well. Until Angela says she didn't think they'd get along, but that she didn't steal Greg because Cindy left him, and that's when Cindy says this.
You left him, so...
Wait, I'm sorry, hang on. Is that what he told you?
Oh, yeah, just like everything, there's more to the story with every little thing. There's more to the story here. We do know that Cindy left to go stay with her sister for a bit, but that's not the full story, right? That's not when she left Greg. There has to be other things playing into this. I don't know. We also see that Angela's told Greg how Jeanette was actually feeling, so he comes to play some cards with her and Vincent and apologizes for being distant because he just thought that that's what Jeanette wanted, her own space. But it's also kind of like, I think he's still battling within his head whether he believes his own daughter or not, so who knows? And well, yeah, that's basically all the drama that went down on this episode of Cruel Summer. We learned that both Greg and Cindy know Jeanette isn't fully innocent, that she had a key to Martin's house and probably went there multiple times, but they don't know fully if she ever saw Kate. We don't even know fully 100% if that ever happened. Jeanette also seems to be gaining back some allies as she's made up with Vincent, and her dad also seems to be warming back up to her, and she also has Angela on her side. And so now I guess that we just have to kind of wait and see what person comes out of the woodwork next to threaten either Jeanette or Kate's side of the story. So, yeah, let's watch the preview for the next episode.
Happy birthday, Kate Wallace.
Happy birthday, baby.
Best birthday.
Kate, I want to talk to you about the Marcia Bailey show.
Can you please leave me alone so you don't make my birthday suck as much as it did last year?
You were being such a little brat.
Do you think I'm evil?
You raised me to be trusting, and he took that.
People have given up on looking for you. This is your world now.
All right, you guys, lots of drama. Just drama, drama, drama all over. And as we're starting to get closer to the actual court date, things are starting to get more intense. And I can't wait to see what happens next. There are still so many secrets, I feel like, that have to be revealed. Little pieces that are just going to tie things in. But then again, I feel like it's going to be one of those shows, hopefully not as crazy as Pretty Little Liars, where we never really got answers or they backtracked on answers. Hopefully we get some answers by the end of the season, but also I kind of want a season 2, so hopefully we don't get all the answers. Okay, so I actually haven't looked at a lot of theories. I'm recording this after I filmed the majority of this episode, so I went back in hindsight and looked at some of the theories that have been going on, and woo-wee, there's a few that are very interesting. So lots of people on Reddit have theories when it comes to all the mirrors that are seen throughout this series. So especially in the basement, when Jeanette first goes into the basement before Mr. Harris has fully moved in the house, we see a corner that's full of mirrors, and then we see this obviously later on when Kate's down in the basement, and people have a theory that these may be two-way mirrors, maybe something's on the other side of that we don't know, because obviously this basement seems pretty small compared to the outside of the house that we see how big it should be. Now, one thing about this is that Mr. Harris just moved to this house. He didn't build this house, so while he may have thought that this basement was great, he wouldn't have had time to really build anything down there at that time because he just got the house. But I guess he could have revamped it in the time period that it took before he took Kate, because we know it wasn't right away. So if there's something on the other side of that, though, it still doesn't really explain how Jeanette would have seen Kate, because at this point it seems like all she would have had to do is, go down into the basement, but that door would have been locked most likely, so how would she have done that unless she peeked through the windows of the basement? But who knows, maybe there's some secret passages in this house, because it seems pretty big for one man to live in by himself. So yeah, but I don't know. That's an interesting theory. Mirrors do play a big part in this series, like I said, and like all the users and the theorists have kind of noticed. The girls are always looking into their mirror in their room, practicing things or getting ready. We also have that maze of mirrors that the girls go through at the fair. So yeah, does that mean anything? Theories when it comes to Annabelle, I think I mentioned before, and a lot of people have said the same thing, that maybe this is another part of Kate, another part of her personality. Maybe it was developed from her trauma, a way to cope, or just another side that's come out that's maybe the rebellious side of Kate. I don't know. The part that helps her cope with all this trauma, or maybe there was another person down in that basement somehow. Mr. Harris could have kidnapped somebody else. We don't really know. Or maybe he has an accomplice. Maybe somebody on the show isn't who they really think they are. I really like Angela, but there's something about her. She just comes to town and then makes her way into, the Turner's life, and she seems very interested in Jeanette. And she could very well just be your typical person, a nice person, a good person. But I feel like everybody on this show has something that they're hiding. So maybe she knew Martin before that, and maybe I don't know. I don't really want to think bad things about Angela. I like to think she's a good person. What else? There's people that think Mallory has something to do with it, because we obviously see how fast she kind of latched on to Kate after Jeanette dumped her, and I don't know though. I don't think she would do it, right? I don't know. I feel like I just need more answers, and I don't think we're ever gonna get them, because both of these girls are capable of lying about things, and all these little white lies or even bigger lies are snowballing. I don't know, because everybody has secrets. So yeah, let me know what theories you have. Do you believe any of them? Are you with the mirror theory? Are you with the Mallory theory? Yeah, let me know. And yeah, are you team Jeanette? Are you team Kate? Also, you know what? Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any more of my recaps or celebrity interviews. And you can check out my interview with Brooklyn Sudano, who plays Angela on the show, right over here. And well, that's it for me for this episode of What Happened All About Cruel Summer, episode 6. As always, I'm Lisa. Thanks so much for hanging out with me, and I'll see you next time.